In this panel, I shall be looking at the two options that Rashi provides for the MachPellah descriptive to the Ma'ara, the cave, and the challenge by the Rambam to Rashi. In Bereshit 23:9, we have the request by Avraham to the Bnei Chet that they intercede on his behalf with Ephron for the purchase of a Ma'arat HaMachPellah that is situated b'Ktsei Sadehu, on his property. As noted in the previous panel, the Machpelah refers to the cave, and although it is used as an adjective, it has a shoresh of Chaf Pei Lamed, Kefel, a rather rare shoresh in Parshat Mishpatim. This shoresh is used and applied to a situation where a person has been accused of and found guilty of theft, that individual is required to pay kefel, double payment, to the original owner. It also has a connotation of folding, as recorded in Parshat Truma, which deals with the making of the Mishkan, that they were required to join the 11 curtains into two sets, a set of 5 and a set of 6, and v'kafalta et ha'yiriyah ha'shishit, they were to double over, drape over that 6th curtain el mul panei ha'ohel, to cover the front of the ohel moed. In commenting to the word ha-machpelah, Rashi provides us with two options. Option 1, and keeping in mind the chaf pei lamed shoresh as multiplying or doubling, Rashi writes that this was a ma'ara, a cave, that was somewhat exceptional in that there was a bayit, clearly not a bayit as we understand this term as a house, but rather an opening that could be used as living quarters and protection from the forces of extreme heat, cold, wind and rain. Ve'aliyah al-gabav, and a second area of living space located above the main cave. In other words, the Ma'ara was exceptional in that it had two living areas, one above the other. But then Rashi offers a second option, introduced with the words davar acher, another explanation for the descriptive Machpelah, that it was shekefula bezugot. The doubling here did not refer to the physical structure of the cave, but rather the fact that it was already used as the final resting place for two people who had been married, referring to Adam and Chava, and somehow Avraham was privy to this information, an event that had taken place 1,154 years earlier. It also became the burial place for the Avot and their wives, so that the term Machpelah refers to the Zugot, the 4 couples that were ultimately buried there. Obviously, when Avraham made that request, he would have been referring to Adam and Chava, or alternatively, Avraham was speaking prophetically. A close study of the commentary of Rashi would ask why there was a need for the two options, but these two options are recorded in Masechet Eruvin, Daf Nun Gimel Amud Aleph, and traces the two options to a machloket between Rav and Shmuel. Chad Amar, presumably Rav, maintains that shtei batim ze lifnim mizeh. Once again, bayit is not the bayit of today, but rather an internal area that had 4 walls and a roof. And the Machpelah component was that it was a cave that had 2 living areas, much like the buildings of today, where you have the front rooms used for entertainment of guests, and the back room allocated for private use. V'chad Amar, the other Amora, presumably Shmuel, maintains that the Machpelah was a bayit va'aliyah al-gabav, a 2-storied cave. This was the received Mesorah as of the time of the Gemara. The Gemara then proceeds to analyze and fine-tune the two positions. Bishloma laman da'amar zeh al-gav zeh, we can accept the interpretation of Shmuel, who maintains that the Ma'arat HaMachpelah, where the Machpelah descriptive made it unique from other caves in the area, and presumably a double-storied cave would have been the exception to the rule, and hence the Machpelah descriptive was applicable. Avraham was requesting a particular non-standard cave. If we are going to read Machpelah as a Ma'ara that had 2 compartments, this is nothing that is exceptional or out of the ordinary, and hence my Machpelah. How then does the term or descriptive Machpelah identify this particular cave? And therefore the Gemara either rejects or modifies the position of Rav, that it was not Shnei Batim Zeh Lifnim Mizeh, but rather Shekefula Bezugot. This was a cave that was used for the burial of the 4 couples, Adam and Chava, Avraham and Sarah, Yitzchak and Rivka, and finally Yaakov and Leah. Accordingly, the first option offered by Rashi, that the MachPellah described the physical structure of the cave, Bayit Va'aliyah al-Gaba, accords with the position of Rav, while option number 2, that the MachPellah describes the usage of the Ma'ara, in that the Kefula Bezugot series of couples were buried there, would be aligned to the position of Shmuel as modified by the Gemara. We noted that the term MachPellah is used in 3 different contexts. Context number 2, recorded in Pasuk Yud Zayin, in which we are informed that the property of Ephron was transferred to Avraham. The wording is that the ownership of the Sedei Ephron and the Ma'ara that was located in that field, which was located in MachPellah. In this context, the word MachPellah describes the region in which the field containing this particular Ma'ara was located. The Rambam challenges Rashi, and his argument is that if the MachPellah clearly refers to the region, then both of the option 1, that MachPellah describes the peculiar structure of this Ma'ara, and option 2, where the MachPellah describes the function of the cave, are both wrong, in that they conflict with the information provided in Pasuk Yud Zayin. So that in the wash-up, according to Rashi, MachPellah modifies the Ma'ara, the cave, whereas according to the Ramban, the MachPellah does not modify the cave, but rather, as stated in Pasuk Yud Zayin, refers to the region in which the field of Ephron along with the cave was located. In the next panel, we will look at a set of 4 questions that the Rebbe raises in his analysis of the commentary of Rashi to the descriptive HaMachPellah.